This is Kita-Senju Station, one of the major stations in Tokyo. The JR Joban Line, Tobu Skytree Line, Tokyo Metro Hibiya and Chiyoda lines, and the Tsukuba Express serve this station. There is demand for transfers throughout the day, and the morning rush hour is particularly crowded. The end of the Tsukuba Express platform toward the inbound tracks is in a convenient location for transferring to the Tokyo Metro Chiyoda line. There are many transfer passengers for the Chiyoda line, which is known as one of the most crowded lines in Tokyo, and carries out unique operations called specialized operations during the morning rush. Unlike the calm outbound trains, some people board the inbound trains from here. The inside of the train is extremely crowded, with people packed all the way to the sides of the doors. When the doors open, passengers get off one after another. The most congested section of the Tsukuba Express is toward the outbound track side of Kita-Senju, and the occupancy rate of inbound trains decreases here. The path for descending to the lower level is narrower than it appears, and the flow of passengers getting off the train is stagnant. Passengers getting off and those boarding interfere with each other, which tends to extend the dwell time. Tsukuba Express publishes congestion levels during the morning rush and encourages off-peak travel. I can see that cars 5 and 6, particularly toward the front of trains arriving around 8 a.m., are crowded. This line, which opened its entire length on August 24, 2005, was the last to serve Kita-Senju Station, but it has become as crowded as the other lines.
Tsukuba Express is a 58.3-kilometer, 36.2 miles line connecting Akihabara to Tsukuba. There are 20 stations in total, with an average distance between stations of about 3.1 kilometer, 1.9 miles. While the shortest distance is 1.4 kilometer, 0.87 miles, between Aoi and Rokucho, the distance between Moriya and Mirai-Daira is 6.6 kilometer, 4.1 miles, showing a large variation in distances. It was originally planned for the development of Ibaraki Prefecture in northeastern Tokyo and to supplement the heavily congested Joban Line. After Ibaraki Prefecture established a research committee in 1978, this line began as the second Joban Line concept, and a 1985 report from the Council for Transport Policy designated Tokyo Station as the starting point, while categorizing the stretch to Moriya as a priority development section. Since one objective was to alleviate congestion on the Joban Line, the Japanese National Railways, JNR, should have handled its construction and operation. However, JNR at the time was facing privatization and suffering from a massive deficit, leaving no room for new line construction. The report also suggested the third sector method as an option and called for full support from stakeholders in the construction and operation stages, including methods for procuring the vast construction costs. In response, discussions progressed between the Ministry of Transport and relevant local governments, leading to the establishment of the Joban New Line Development Deliberation Committee in September 1987. The members consisted of the Ministry of Transport, JR East, and the 4 prefectures along the line. An agreement on the basic policy was reached in November 1988, stating that the construction entity would be a third sector company, and JR East would manage operations after the opening. Furthermore, there were times during the planning stage when several other stations were considered as the terminal in central Tokyo. Using Tabata could have dispersed the terminal functions of the Yamanote line, Ikebukuro could have effectively utilized freight lines, Osaki could have increased the capacity of the Yamanote line, and Ueno could have transferred more passengers from the Joban line. Conversely, the advantage of Kita-Senju was considered to be its small impact on the Yamanote line. Since all options required improvements to existing stations, the plan eventually settled on Akihabara due to construction costs, convenience, and the fact that JNR involvement could no longer be expected. Through the efforts of Ibaraki Prefecture, the second phase section beyond Moriyama was also built at once, and the plan gradually approached its current form. In March 1991, the Metropolitan Intercity Railway Company, a third sector company that would be the management entity, was established with investment from local governments along the line. Although JR East was originally planned to handle operations after the opening, the company moved towards not being directly involved. Although construction work began in 1994, delays occurred due to weak ground and groundwater measures, and land acquisition in Ibaraki Prefecture also faced difficulties. In December 1996, the scheduled opening for the year 2000 was postponed by 5 years to 2005. In February 2001, Tsukuba Express was officially announced as the name of the line. This name is used in various guides, and other names from the planning stage or the company name, Metropolitan Intercity Railway Company, almost never appear.
The scheduled opening for October 2005 was moved forward by 2 months to August 24 of the same year to meet strong local demand and arrive in time for the second school semester. At this point, the current line was completed, and there have been no line extensions or new station constructions since then. The rapid trains of the Tsukuba Express run the entire line in a minimum of 45 minutes. In above-ground sections, sharp curves were reduced to allow high-speed travel, and there are no railroad crossings on the line. The maximum speed is 130 kilometers per hour, 80 miles per hour, which is among the fastest categories for general railways in Japan. Since there is no difference in vehicle performance, and the maximum speed is not divided by train type, even local trains run at very high speeds if the track alignment is good. Highway buses, which were once a major means of transportation between Tokyo and Tsukuba, were forced to scale back following the opening of the Tsukuba Express. On the Tsukuba Express, the electricity changes between direct current and alternating current at the boundary between Moriai Station and Murayata Station. This is to avoid interference with the magnetic observatory located in Ibaraki Prefecture. To observe the Earth's magnetic force, railways must use AC electrification to avoid generating DC currents that produce strong magnetic fields. Operating throughout the entire line requires AC-DC dual-voltage trains that can run on both direct and alternating current. However, because manufacturing costs are higher than for DC-only vehicles, 2 types were prepared: the TX1000 series, which are DC-only vehicles operating only between Akihabara and Moriai, and the TX2000 series, which can operate on the entire line. While the TX1000 series has a simple area around the pantograph, the AC-compatible equipment on the TX2000 series is large-scale, with many insulators, making them distinguishable at a glance.
The reason the entire line was not built with AC electrification is the underground sections located near the starting point. A characteristic of the AC power used in Japanese railways is its higher voltage compared to DC. Therefore, the risk of an accident when an object is near the catenary wires is greater than with DC, and insulation measures are stricter. This applies to the distance between the catenary wires and the train body as well. In the case of AC, the distance must be wider than for DC. However, in underground sections in the city center, this would increase the cross-sectional area of the tunnels and lead to higher construction costs. Costs were estimated for both an all-AC line and the combined use of DC and AC, and the current configuration was ultimately chosen. While it requires 2 types of vehicles and expensive AC-DC dual-voltage trains, I see that it was more economical than building the entire line with AC compatibility. Currently, out of the 10 trains per hour during the day, 4 local trains operate only as far as Moriya. And this line is now reaching its 20th anniversary and has achieved great success. The number of users in the first year of operation was 34.69 million, with an average of over 150,000 people per day. This exceeds the pre-opening forecast of 135,000 people. In March 2007, the cumulative number of passengers surpassed 100 million in the 20th month since opening. The average daily number of users reached the target of 270,000 in just over 4 years after opening. The business performance of the Metropolitan Intercity Railway Company also rose steadily, achieving an operating profit in fiscal 2008. It achieved a net profit the following year, reaching the original goal of becoming profitable on a single-year basis 20 years after opening, more than 10 years ahead of schedule.
Subsequently, the cumulative loss was eliminated in fiscal 2017.
Congestion in the morning is particularly severe on the Tsukuba Express, and although trains run at intervals of 2 to 3 minutes during peak hours, the limit of transport capacity with 6-car trains is becoming apparent. Vehicles added after the opening are the TX2000 series or its successor, the TX3000 series, which can operate throughout the entire line. I will now examine the conditions at crowded stations and the measures aimed at alleviating congestion. A station that illustrates the increase in users is here, Nagareyama Otakanomori Station. All trains stop here. With 2 platforms and 4 tracks, trains wait for connections mainly during rush hours. And at this station, I can transfer to the Tobu Urban Park Line. Initially, Tobu had no plans to establish a station, and it was built on the condition that Nagareyama City and the Urban Renaissance Agency, UR, cover the entire construction cost of about $2.7 billion, or $18 million. The Tobu station opened simultaneously with the Tsukuba Express station, boosting the development of condominiums, not only around the station, but also along the Urban Park Line. The number of passengers boarding the Tsukuba Express is over 41,000 people per day on average. This ranks 3rd after Akihabara and Kita-Senju. Numerous commercial facilities and condominiums have been built around the station, and it often appears in rankings of desirable places to live. The Kermit station name is derived from the fact that a forest inhabited by the endangered northern goshawk surrounds the station. However, the city's popularity rose with the opening of the station, and the environment suitable for goshawks has drastically decreased as the forest was cleared for residential development.
Next is Minami-Nagareyama Station, located 2 stations toward the inbound tracks. Transfers to the JR Musashino line are available, and rapid trains also stop here. The number of passengers boarding in fiscal 2023 was just under 38,000 per day on average. Although it surpassed Nagareyama Otakanomori in fiscal 2015, it was overtaken again and now ranks 4th on the line. At the ticket gates, the lines of passengers never cease. I enter the gates and descend to the platform. To the left, there is a line of passengers on the inbound track side, and looking at the rear of an outbound train, I see platform doors further back. However, the pillar on the right has the text "Rear of Train," and the platform doors say "Will not open." Looking at the station map, I see that stairs and other facilities are concentrated toward the outbound tracks, and I notice this skip mark. The platforms at this station are long enough for about 10 cars, and trains for both inbound and outbound directions stop at the front. There is space for over 3 cars behind the outbound trains, and the blank wall feels very imposing. Passenger growth at Minami-Nagareyama Station was intense after opening, making platform congestion a problem. This station has a structure where the inbound and outbound tracks flank the platform. To widen the platform, it is necessary to either shift the tracks themselves or build a new platform outside the tracks. Since neither was realistic here, I see that congestion is being alleviated by extending the platforms and shifting the stopping positions of the trains. Some people wait for the next train because they cannot fit, while others use stations where trains pass through, so the passengers do not clear out all at once. Congestion is particularly bad near car 6, and passengers are frequently left behind. At departure, bells often ring in addition to the standard departure melody, showing that emphasis is placed on congestion measures.
Furthermore, I noticed that outbound trains that seemed calm at Kita-Senju sometimes see an increased occupancy rate at this station. There is significant demand for commuting toward the outbound track direction, and standing passengers are noticeable. Some people wait for the next train after letting a Moria-bound train pass, and others head for stations where rapid trains do not stop, so the passengers here do not clear out all at once either. In Nagareyama City, which has both Nagareyama Otakanomori and Minami-Nagareyama stations, the effect of the Tsukuba Express opening is clear, with the city ranking first in population growth rate among all cities in Japan for 6 consecutive years. The rapid progress of the Tsukuba Express is also affecting the stopping stations. This station was a station where rapid trains passed through at the time of opening, but it was added to the stopping stations in the timetable revision this past March. This is the only station that has become a rapid stop after opening. There are also originating trains during the morning rush.
There are 8 trains in total from the 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. hours. Also, this is the last station where inbound trains can wait for connections, and many trains waiting for others are noticeable during the morning rush. There are no rapid trains in the inbound track direction on weekday mornings, and the section rapid, which has one more stop, is the fastest. I see that although one can reach Akihabara in 20 minutes, there is a high demand for sitting during the commute, as markings for queuing positions are on the platform where originating trains depart, and many passengers form lines. Rokucho Station next door underwent a similar change. At the beginning, only local trains stopped there, but it became a stop for the commuter rapid, which was newly established in 2012. The commuter rapid was initially operated for inbound tracks on weekday mornings and outbound tracks in the evening, but the inbound service on weekdays was discontinued in the March 2020 timetable revision. In March 2020, it became a stop for inbound section rapid trains in conjunction with the discontinuation of the morning inbound commuter rapid. This is the only station where the stopping train types change depending on the time. Some people target originating trains from Yashio, which are relatively empty, and the passengers do not clear out all at once. During the most congested times, staff are placed on the platform to organize passengers, and doors are closed after the station staff gives the signal. Such success is rare for a suburban line built in the greater Tokyo area in recent years. Among lines that opened earlier, some have set high fares to repay loans and interests from the time of construction. I see that the situation is unpredictable, as some companies are struggling financially and facing the risk of running out of funds. The Tsukuba Express succeeded because it applied the lessons learned from those lines. During construction, it was made possible to procure funds almost interest-free, ensuring that they would not suffer from the burden of interest during repayment. Furthermore, the Special Measures Law on Integrated Promotion of Residential Land Development and Railway Construction in Metropolitan Areas was enacted in 1989. This law made it easier to conduct land readjustment projects and reduce fixed asset taxes in areas where residential development was expected due to the opening of a railway, allowing for the integrated promotion of railway development and residential development. This was a response to previously built lines where railway construction and trackside development were not linked, and the number of users did not increase as expected. The Tsukuba Express is the only one to which it has been applied so far.
And in response to the congestion since its opening, further measures are progressing. Among the vehicles introduced at the time of opening, some included cars with cross seats arranged perpendicular to the rails. As congestion worsened after the opening, drawbacks such as the inability of passengers to move smoothly and low capacity became seen as problems, leading to a transition to long seats arranged parallel to the rails, and cross seats disappeared by 2020. Also, by increasing the connection line between Moriya Station and the depot from a single track to a double track, the capacity for increasing train frequency and responding to troubles has improved. At the same time, construction work is being carried out at Moriya Station to modify it so that trains can wait for connections. Because Akihabara Station, the starting point, was built under existing subways and other structures, it is located deep underground. The elevators leading to the surface have many users and were added to after the opening. The newly installed one is a large size for a general railway station elevator with a capacity of 30 people. And a further measure to alleviate congestion is adding 2 cars to the current 6-car trains to make them 8 cars long. While some lines build extra platform length in advance in anticipation of increasing cars in the future, the Tsukuba Express only had enough for 6 cars from the start, so work to create platform space for 2 additional cars is underway. Space for constructing 8-car platforms was secured in advance, and work is progressing at each station. At Akihabara Station, the starting point, the platforms are being extended in both directions, and there is an escalator toward the inbound trackside. The way the platforms are extended varies by station.
At the neighboring Shin-Okachimachi Station, the platform is extended only toward the inbound tracks, while at Asakusa Station next door, it is extended by 1 car in both directions. And at Minami-Senju Station next to that, it is extended only toward the outbound tracks. Also, at some stations where platforms have been extended, the finishing work on the trackside has not yet been completed. At Aoi Station, one station toward the outbound tracks from Kita-Senju, express trains used to pass through at 105 km per hour, 65 miles per hour. Although the speed was reduced to 75 km per hour, 47 miles per hour, during the platform extension work, it was restored in the timetable revision this past March as the work reached a milestone. It is the same at the neighboring Rokucho Station. Trains used to pass here at 125 km per hour, 78 miles per hour. but it was reduced to 95 kilometers per hour, 60 miles per hour, due to danger in the narrow underground station, and further reduced to 75 kilometers per hour, 47 miles per hour, during the extension work. The speed limit here has also been restored as the extension work reached a milestone. The extension of the platforms is complete, and the brand new sections are clearly visible. Furthermore, the initial plan also anticipated operation with 10-car trains, and there is space for 2 additional cars toward the outbound tracks at Shino-Kachimachi Station. The reason the modification of Minami-Nagareyama Station was possible is that there were facilities anticipating the shift to 10 cars. However, at stations like Aoi, large-scale construction is required to make the platforms compatible with 10 cars, and proceeding that far does not seem easy. The project to 8 cars began in 2019. Because the work time from the last train to the first train is only 2 to 3 hours a day and must be done alongside daily maintenance, and because construction space is limited at elevated and underground stations, the project will take over 10 years. 8-car trains are scheduled to begin running in the early 2030s.